For some reason, I can't admit everybody at one time. Why is that?
Admit all, but
I don't have a thing to admit everybody, so,
okay.
oh, okay.
I just hit admit all, so they should be coming in.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, great.
Systems weird today. Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Laura Phinizy. I'm chair of ANC 34G, and it is 7:02. And we do have a quorum present, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. We'll start with commissioner introductions, and I'll just go left to right on my screen, starting with Commissioner Nagy.
Yeah, good evening. Hi, I'm Liz Nagy. I'm commissioner in ANC 34G07, which runs from Military down to Chevy Chase Parkway, east over to Nevada, and west over to Reno. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. And now Commissioner Gore.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Gore. I'm the ANC Commissioner for 34G01. My commission area is all of Hawthorne, down Western Avenue to actually 33rd, the east side of 33rd Street, down Tennyson, which I think that's the north side of Tennyson, back over around to the Tributary and down Beach. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner Sherman.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm Bruce Sherman. I'm the commissioner for Single Member District 02, which is all the way over by Rock Creek Park and has the distinction of having in the district area the Knollwood Retirement Community, St. John's College High School, Episcopal Center for Children, Murray Schools, Barrett Fields, and about 850 residences. Welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Gosselin.
Yes, I'm Peter Gosselin. I'm the commissioner for District 6, which is largely the west side of Connecticut back to Friendship Heights between Military and Western Avenue in the circle with a peninsula to the east. Welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Grunewald.
Yes, good evening. I'm Carol Grunewald. I'm the commissioner from District 03, and the boundaries of my district are Utah Avenue to the northeast, 27th Street to the east, Broad Branch to the south and to the west, McKinley on the north, then it jogs north and east along Nebraska where it rejoins Utah Avenue. And I'd just like to say for the evening that Ingleside is in my district, and we'll be talking about Ingleside this evening. Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Simmons.
Hi, Commissioner Simmons. I'm not able to get on camera at this moment. I am the commissioner for Single Member District 05. It is the east side of Connecticut from Legation all the way to Western, and it goes all the way back to Broad Branch Ave, which is the divider between Ward 3 and 4. And also in my single member district is the Library and Community Center. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm Laura Phinizy, and I'm chair single member District 4, which is bordered by Utah, Western, roughly McKinley, Nevada, and Broad Branch, and it includes the Lafayette Elementary School and the Lafayette Pointer Park. Okay, so welcome. We're going to have similar meeting procedures as before. If you are speaking, you will be recognized by the chair first, so please wait to be recognized by the chair. If you are not recognized by the chair, please keep your mute on. That will eliminate reverb and make it easier for everyone else to hear. And we will try to keep comments to 2 minutes per person, and with commissioners go around to each person will have a chance first before somebody speaks a second time. Okay, so now we have to look at our agenda. Tentatively on the agenda, we have the adoption of minutes, some resident announcements, a second review of the Chevy Chase Main Street grant, a first review of application for the Chevy Chase Day grant ice cream truck, presentation on Ingleside, and discussion of Pepco outages, then commissioner business and commission reports. Is there any proposed change And I see Commissioner Sherman's hand is up. Commissioner Sherman?
You're on mute, Bruce. Bruce.
You are muted. There you go.
Thank you. Sorry about that. As flagged to my fellow commissioners over the weekend, I'd like to propose that we amend the agenda to introduce a letter of commendation from my constituent, Terry Bullock, for the work that she's done, the incredible work that she's done in flagging the upcoming Office of Tax and Revenue tax lien sale. Her efforts have resulted, as we'll talk about, hopefully, in saving, I believe, several of our constituents' homes potentially from that sale. And if I could ask that we do that, if it would work for the commission inside the open forum comments. This is not obviously on the agenda already. I've asked Terry to join us. I hope she can do that. This is really just about 5 minutes, but hopefully we could do it towards the front of the meeting if possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Commissioner Gosselin, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I'd ask the commission to amend the agenda for a very short item to let us recognize the passing of Jerry Keneally, the greeter at the Safeway, greeted almost nearly a generation of people, died unexpectedly on July 4th. I'll have some language that I can offer. I ask this on my behalf and on Commissioner Simmons' behalf.
All right, thank you. Are there any further requested changes? Okay, so seeing none, I have the request to amend the agenda. I believe if we can keep those rather short, we should be able to put them in the resident announcement time between 7:08 and 7:20. So that's where I would propose to put them. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda with those two recognitions? Okay, Peter, would you like to second it?
I'm seconding it, yes.
Thank you, sorry. I will make the motion to adopt the agenda. Thank you for seconding. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Simmons. That was unanimous. Okay, all those opposed say nay. There were no nays. Okay, so now we will go to the adoption of the prior meeting minutes. Commissioner Grunewald?
You're on mute, Carol.
Mute. Okay, yes, thank you for that. I'd like to move that we adopt or approve the minutes from June 22nd with leave to make technical changes, please.
Does Commissioner Grunewald have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Nagy. Commissioner Gore?
I would like to ask the commission to amend the minutes at the backside to include the commissioner that made the announcements. Under commissioner announcements, it's very hard to attribute them to an individual commissioner. They kind of run together. I'm not sure how to differentiate which commissioner said what, looking at the way they're formatted currently.
I believe one of the challenges is when we come in through the ANC 3G account, that's a little more tricky for Commissioner Grunewald. Commissioner Grunewald, how long would that take for you to do?
Well, this has been the practice for the past several minutes, the past several few minutes that we've done. So I've just proceeded to do the same that I've done. Not quite sure why we're changing midstream.
Okay. Is there a second to Commissioner Gore's proposal to amend the minutes to include the names of the specific commissioners? There is a second. Okay. All those in favor of amending the minutes to include the commissioner's name in the end of the minutes during the commissioner's announcements, say aye. Okay, that's Gore, Simmons, and Gosselin. Okay, all those opposed, say nay. Okay, that's 4. So it is not passed. It is it is defeated. So now we'll go back to the question of the amendment. So as the amendments stand,
Chair, what was the
Yes.
vote on that, please? I need a vote.
3-4. Gore, Simmons, and Gosselin voted to amend the agenda to include the commission names.
Mhm.
And Phinizy, Nagy, Sherman, and Grunewald voted not to include the commissioner names.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now we go back to the original amendments as presented. With leave to make technical corrections, Commissioner Nagy had seconded. All those in favor of approving the minutes with leave to make technical corrections, say aye. Okay, I see. Just 1 second. I see a commissioner from 2, I see from 3, from 4. I do not see from 5, and I see from 6, and I see from 7. Commissioner Nagy?
No, sorry, I'm
Okay,
saying
that was
yes.
just a double hand. Okay,
That was a
all
double
those
hand, sorry.
opposed? I see Gore opposed. Okay, thank you. All those abstaining? Okay, I did not record a vote from Commissioner Simmons. Commissioner Simmons, did I miss something here on the Zoom? Okay, I did not see Commissioner Simmons voting on that one.
So Chair, what was the final vote, please?
5-1.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. With no vote from Commissioner Simmons. Okay, so now we'll move into the resident announcements, comments, not agenda items. Well, let's hear from the constituents first, and then we'll have the little, the short tributes from Commissioners Sherman and Gosselin and Simmons. Okay, any resident comments, announcements for things not on the agenda? Okay, I see Brian Howman, Mr. Howman.
Chair Phinizy, I just wanted to raise a comment in anticipation of Chevy Chase Art All Night on September 12th and Chevy Chase Day, September 19th. A group of us are working with DPR to try to clean up the playground area at the community center. And we have been in touch directly with Jasmine Campbell, who's the current manager of the DPR facility, and wanted to just let you know that there will be a call for volunteers to help out in August.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate your stepping up. Thank you. Cal, Simone, Mr. Simone.
Hi there. So I'm calling. I have a couple of things to say. One is if you missed my presentation at the last meeting, I'm giving again at the ANC 3E meeting on the 21st. And I may have even more information by then. That's the first thing. So that's 7 o'clock or 7:30. I'm not sure which. They posted to the Chevy Chase community listserv the announcements and invitations. So I'll be doing that on the 21st. And then and one addition, there's a bus stop change. I was just putting up the map so I could show you on the map real quick. Where's the map? I had it right there. So on McKinley Street, I don't think I can get the maps up quick enough.
Okay.
The map on McKinley Street, there was a stop in the eastbound direction there was a stop on both sides of the intersection at Chevy Chase Parkway. The eastbound stop has been moved as of June 21st to Nevada Avenue to give residents more of a chance to get off the bus further east at the last possible place, right where the bus turns south on Nevada Avenue. So there was a stop there originally when the bus was still running all the way across McKinley, but now there's no stop in the eastbound direction at Chevy Chase Parkway. The first stop east of Connecticut will be at McKinley and Nevada, is at McKinley and Nevada. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Appreciate it. My husband commutes and noted that as he came home today. Thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
doesn't work in the other direction. You still have to go back to Chevy Chase Parkway, but
Okay, thank you. All right, other community? I do not see. Okay, so now Commissioner Sherman.
Yes. I would like to bring into the conversation Terry Bullock. Unfortunately, she was not able to log on to the Zoom account. So I have Terry on my mobile phone so she can hear. And if she has the opportunity to mention a few words, we'll try to let her do that. Let me just make sure that she is with me. I believe she is. Terry, you can hear me, correct? Okay, fantastic. And Terry, you'll want to speak up if you, because you're very faint if we bring you in. But what I'd like to do, Chair Phinizy, is read the letter of commendation so that it's part of the record. Take any questions from commissioners, take any comments from Terry, and then proceed to approve this if all commissioners are in agreement.
Okay, so for things to be read into the record, we do need to get an agreement from the commission. All those in favor of reading the letter of commendation into the record, say, I would like to make a motion that we read the letter of recommendation into the record. Do I have a second? Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and that is 6 of us. Okay, all those opposed? Oh, no. Okay, so that vote was 6-0. I did not see a vote from Commissioner Simmons. All right, Commissioner Sherman, please go ahead. Thank you.
Very, very good. It should take about 2 minutes to read the letter in. It's a letter of commendation in the name of the commission. The letter would be signed by Chair Phinizy. Therefore, it's in the first person singular, her voice. Dear Ms. Bullock, on behalf of Advisory Neighborhood Commission 34G, it is my pleasure to commend you for your outstanding public service to the Chevy Chase community in bringing attention to the district's upcoming tax lien sale and the potential consequences for homeowners whose properties may have been placed on the tax sale list without their knowledge. Your careful review of the district's published tax lien list, together with your willingness to share your findings and personal experience with the community, prompted neighbors to verify the status of their own property tax payments and encouraged a broader public discussion about the importance of ensuring that tax obligations have been properly credited. Your efforts highlighted concerns that can affect homeowners through no fault of their own, including processing errors, mailing problems, mortgage servicing mistakes, and other administrative issues. The community response to your outreach demonstrated the practical value of your work. Neighbors shared accounts of payments that had not been properly recorded, penalties later reversed after investigation, and mortgage servicing errors that nearly resulted in tax delinquencies. Most notably, Commissioner Liz Nagy identified 2 properties on the tax lien list belonging to constituents. After contacting the owners directly, both were able to resolve their outstanding tax issues before the scheduled tax sale. As Commissioner Nagy observed, taxes paid, crisis averted. Beyond these immediate results, your work has encouraged greater public awareness of the district's tax foreclosure process and the importance of transparency, accountability, and vigilance in protecting homeowners. Your willingness to raise thoughtful questions about the administration of the tax lien system reflects a deep commitment to good government and to safeguarding members of our community, particularly seniors, heirs of estates, and other residents who may be especially vulnerable to unintended consequences. Public service often begins with one person taking the initiative to notice something others have overlooked. Your diligence, persistence, and concern for your neighbors help prevent potential hardship and demonstrated the positive impact that an informed and engaged resident can have on the entire community. For your exemplary civic leadership and your dedication to protecting the residents of Chevy Chase, Advisory Neighborhood Commission 34G is pleased to recognize and commend you with our sincere appreciation and gratitude. Again, this would be signed by Chair Phinizy. So that is the letter. Before we go to commissioner comments, I just would like, if possible, to have Terry come in. And again, she's on my mobile phone and she's going to have to speak very, I believe, loud for you to hear her, but let's try it. Terry, you've heard the letter. Would you like to say a few words to the commission and the community on the Zoom call? Terry, can you speak up? I've got you on high volume on my phone, but I can barely hear you. I don't think anyone can hear you. Terry, I'll tell you what, I don't think technology is going to be our friend in this particular instance. But what we can do is certainly take any statements that you'd like to make. And if you wanted to send me something, I could later in the meeting or on another occasion mention that. But while I have you on the phone and you can hear, I'd like our commissioners or anyone from the community to comment on the letter, and then we could move to approve it. Chair Phinizy, back to you.
Thank you. I would just like to say that that her consolidating the list and pulling from our area made it more efficient. And I was able to find two homeowners in my SMD, one who had a payment recording issue and another one who the homeowner had actually lost his air conditioning and so had to move out. And so it was really great that we are able to get things fixed. But I also would like to credit the Mokers, worked with Owen Cox and the staff, Mrs. Liggins at OTR, to help resolve these. And so teamwork makes a dream work sounds corny, but in this case, it has been really a group effort. And thank you. Commissioner Grunewald?
Yes, I'd just like to mention that Ms. Bullock did the same excellent work last year, and I was able to contact several constituents who were on the list. So thanks to her work. Thank you very much, Terry Bullock, for a tremendous job. Thank you.
She's acknowledging the gratitude.
All right. Well,
No.
thank you so much. Would you like to make a motion, Commissioner Sherman, that we?
Yes, I'd like to move that we approve the letter of commendation for Terry Bullock honoring her service.
Okay. Seconded. All right. All those in favor of sending the letter to commend Ms. Bullock for her service, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's 7. All those opposed say nay. It's just a formality, but I must do it. Okay. Thank you very much. 7-0 unanimously approved. Thank you for your service.
Yes, and Terry, just to confirm, she can hear us and I can barely hear her, but Terry, the commission has just approved the letter of commendation by unanimous vote. So again, I will follow up with you. Thank you for trying to join us by phone. We'll follow up. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And Commissioner Gosselin and Simmons, you wanted to talk about our Safeway greeter.
Yeah, I want to offer, we want to offer some language that I hope the commission can support and that I would be glad to send to the family. I suggest just approval of something like this. ANC 34G notes the passing of Jerry Keneally, who greeted nearly a generation of shoppers at the Upper Connecticut Avenue Safeway with good cheer. We recognize his death as a loss to the community, and we send our condolences to his friends and family. And I could either send that or Chair Phinizy could send that. And I'd make that as a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Commissioner Simmons, were you seconding or did you have a question?
I was seconding.
Okay, thank you. All right. All those in favor of Commissioner Gosselin, I think it would be appropriate for you to do that. That'd be fine.
Commissioner Simmons and I should do that, I think.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
Good.
That'd be lovely. All right. All those in favor of Commissioner Simmons and Gosselin sending the letter to the communication to the family noting the passing, say aye. Okay. And I just want to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. That's 7. And all those opposed. Formality. Okay, great. All right. Well, that's wonderful. I'm sorry for the loss, but we were blessed to have had this person with us for so many years. It's amazing those small connections, how much they make people feel known and appreciated. Okay, so now Commissioner Gosselin, we are back to your application for the grant. This is a second review for the Chevy Chase Main Street Arts All Night. We looked at it last meeting and now we're back for a vote on it. So I'll turn it over to you.
So if you could bring up Anna Claire Walker, could you put up your hand and so they can bring you on screen and into this discussion? Commissioners, we'd had this discussion last meeting. There was some question about the money being used, some interest in seeing it used exclusively in Chevy Chase, although this is a Chevy Chase version of a citywide event. There was some discussion since particularly since our meeting, about the fact that it is on the second night of Rosh Hashanah. As Anna Claire Walker, who is the director of Main Street, Chevy Chase Main Street, said, the date was not her choice or our choice. The city has given for the first time a substantial grant towards this, towards our Chevy Chase edition of Art All Night. And I think Anna Claire and I have succeeded in what could turn out to be an important a milestone of some sort in getting the owners of the former American City Diner site to open the site for this event. And I hope with these things in mind, you will support this this grant application. Anna Claire, you look like you're doing your 10,000 steps. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think I would just say that we were aware as soon as the dates were released that there were going to be conflicts with that date, and we're doing everything we can to program. You know, it's called Art All Night, and we know not everyone in the neighborhood might want to stay up late, but we are trying to program a lot of things after dark to try to be as inclusive as possible. And we did strongly request the Saturday night time frame for our event, not the Friday night, in order to reach as many people as possible. So we did what we could within the constraints that we were given to try to be inclusive. But yeah, we understand that that's not an ideal night, and we hope that with the Chevy Chase Day the week after, that there's something for everyone over the course of the 2 weekends, and ours will definitely be focused more on evening activities.
Thank you. Okay.
Sheriff, do you want to take it from here? I mean, or do you want to
I have a comment in response to the holiday. I did reach out to our MOCR, who put me in touch with the faith community liaison for wards 1 through 4, a charity, and we spoke, and she had not been integrated into the decision of the date. So, but she will be in touch with the different congregations, and I just conveyed our apologies for the conflict and asked that going forward, perhaps that the planners could work with the faith community liaisons proactively and prevent this in the future. So I think hopefully this is a one-off conflict. So is there any further discussion of the grant? Okay, I know we discussed it last time, and it looks like everybody came prepared to vote, which is fantastic. Okay, so would you like to make a motion, Commissioner Gosselin?
I move that the ANC approve the grant application from Chevy Chase Main Street for $2,000 towards Art All Night. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Simmons. All right. All those in favor of approving the $2,000 grant for All All Night, please say aye. Okay, and that's 7. All those opposed? Okay, the grant is unanimously approved. And Commissioner Gosselin and Anna Claire, thank you so much for all your work for this. And just please remember there is some follow-up paperwork at the end of the grant that requires to show how the grant was used. And we have to file that back with Commissioner Sherman, who has to get it to the OANC. So just remember that on the back end after all the fun is over. Thank you so much. Okay, now we have the application for the grant for the Chevy Chase Day ice cream truck. Commissioner Simmons, I'll have you down for this.
Yes. So thank you. The next discussion will be on the grant request from Chevy Chase Community Association. I believe we have Mr. Chaz and Ms. Jory on the call, so I'll turn it over to you guys to discuss the grant
Okay.
application.
Okay, I can start. This is Jory Barone speaking. I'm the secretary for the Chevy Chase Community Association. And
Hi, Jory. Thank you.
hi. So we are applying for a grant to defray most of the cost of the ice cream truck for Chevy Chase Day. And well, we have lots of activities for families, and the ice cream truck has just proven to be a really fun activity. It gets people to come out. It gets people to sort of stay and walk around and look at all the information that we have. And I also sort of consider it like a thank you to the community for coming out. So it's something we really like to do. We do have a vendor who always does a very good job and is very reliable. Last year, we request we order like 650 pieces of ice cream, and last year they were all gone and very quickly. So that was a good thing. So we just feel it's a really nice thing to do for the community, and we like making it the focus of this grant application. And any difference in cost, we will do other fundraising to raise.
Okay.
So do you have any questions for me? Yeah.
Let's see. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Are you going to be doing 650 pieces of ice cream or more?
No, we're sticking with that. Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions from anyone else?
No, but just to confirm, Jory, the request amount is $2,000.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, so we have all the materials. Commissioner Simmons and the OANC kindly sent those over. So this is our first review of it, and per OANC policy, we don't vote at the first review. We vote at the next meeting to follow up and vote.
Okay.
Okay. And then if anyone in reviewing the materials has any questions in the meantime, are you the one that we should contact?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay. So, and we can probably, we can coordinate through Commissioner Simmons if we have.
That's right. My email address is in the application.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much.
No, well, thank you.
Okay. So now I'm going to turn it to Commissioner Grunewald. We have a presentation about a possible expansion at the Ingleside site.
Right.
Commissioner Grunewald.
Thank you, Chair Phinizy. I appreciate it. So this evening, I'd like to welcome Lynn O'Connor, who is President and CEO of Ingleside. I'd also like to welcome Jamie Spencer, who's the Chief Financial Officer and Chief Growth Officer for Ingleside. And lastly, I'd like to welcome Paul Tummins, who is the land use attorney with Gosselin and Stores, who is handling this application for Ingleside. And as Chair Phinizy noted, Ingleside at Rock Creek has announced plans to seek approval from the DC Zoning Commission for a new medical campus plan and a significant expansion of its retirement community campus at 3050, 3020, and 3024 Military Road. And so what I think I'd like to do is turn the presentation over to Ingleside. I think Mr. Tummins is going to take over and explain what this zoning application is all about. Mr. Tummins, would you like to take over here?
Yes, I would. And hopefully everyone can see my screen.
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And thank you for that introduction, Commissioner Grunewald. And in addition to the people that Commissioner Grunewald mentioned, we also have Adam Lotinsky of JFW, the development consultant for this project. He's also here to answer any questions that may arise. Here's our agenda for this evening. We'll give a little bit of background about Ingleside. We'll talk about the project. We'll talk about the resident input and feedback we've had to date. Then we'll talk about the process a little bit. And when we talk about the process, what I really want to stress is that we are very, very early in that process. An application for this medical campus plan and new addition will not be filed until mid-September, and that will likely put us at a hearing before the Zoning Commission either in late 2026 or early 2027. And then finally, we're here to provide some initial responses, any questions that the commissioners or the community may have. With that, I'd like to pass it over to Jamie Spencer, the Chief Financial Officer and Chief Growth Officer of Ingleside at Rock Creek. Jamie?
Thank you, Paul, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for welcoming us this evening. It's a pleasure to be with you. As Paul mentioned, I'm Jamie Spencer. I'm Ingleside's Chief Financial Officer, Chief Growth Officer, and just wanted to give anyone who's not familiar with Ingleside just a little bit of background, just a couple minutes on who is Ingleside and what do we do. So Ingleside, this is our mission, and Ingleside is set up as a system, really a healthcare system, where there's a parent organization, Ingleside, as we call it, and then we have three communities, one of which is Ingleside at Rock Creek, which is the community we are discussing this evening. And our mission at Ingleside is really to provide strategic and operational leadership to our communities and to our various affiliates, of which Ingleside at Rock Creek is one of. We are based in, we actually used to be based in Washington, D.C. at the Rock Creek, and that is our first community. It is our flagship community. But we now have our corporate headquarters in Rockville, Maryland, so we are close to the district and we spend a lot of time at our community there. The vision for Ingleside is that we provide premier not-for-profit. We are a not-for-profit provider. We're a 501c3 of services to older persons. So we have vibrant communities. We have a network of partners, and we really offer a enriching lifestyle, purposeful living. Our residents are very engaged. It's our tagline, engaged living. So our residents are engaged in the DC community, not just within the walls of Ingleside, but out in the broader community. And we foster wellness and growth in a fiscally responsible manner, really to everyone who lives and resides at our communities and those beyond our walls. And our values on the right, I won't walk through those, but we have an acronym, ARISE. So accountability, respect, innovation, stewardship, and excellence. And that as a nonprofit is really what we live by day in and day out, that really forms the culture of Ingleside. You can go to the next slide, Paul. Thank you. So just a little more about Ingleside at Rock Creek. This is located with an address at 3050 Military Road. We have a breakdown here of our different units, and this was as of 5/31 when we developed these slides. Independent living, we have 233 units. They're 97.4% occupied with 100% sold. So the only reason we're not at 100% occupancy is because we have transitions, and anytime a resident transitions either to a higher level of care, assisted living, et cetera, or moves out, we take 60 to 90 days to renovate that to renovate that unit for the new resident. Assisted living is the first level of health services that we offer. We have 21 units. Those are 100% occupied. We also have memory support assisted living for those with cognitive impairment. We have 32 units. Those are 88.5% occupied. And that's we have folks who are kind of teed up to move to those levels of care. And then skilled nursing, licensed skilled nursing, 35 units, 87.6% occupied. And through all those levels of healthcare, we do offer priority to those who live within the community and independent living, but we do accept folks from the broader community into those higher levels of care. The one of the main data points here that I think is really important for us to think about in terms of expansion is the number of depositors on our wait list. We have 518. That's a pretty large number. I'd say the average communities, if they have a wait list, probably 100 to 200. So we have a high level of demand of folks who are seeking to become part of Ingleside at Rock Creek and have the security of healthcare within our community. And so part of our effort here is to help ease a little bit of the pressure of the wait list. Paul? We got one more slide. Oh, back to you, Paul.
Yes, thank you. So the project we're talking about, I think Commissioner Grunewald did a good job of talking about what is the application we're going to have before the Zoning Commission. First, we're going to be seeking a medical campus plan approval. The last time Ingleside went through this process in 2015, the zoning regulations did not have a medical campus plan. The idea of like a campus plan, just like private schools have a campus plan, universities have a campus plan. So we're going to be having the establishment of the medical campus plan for the property located at 3050 Military Road. In addition, we're going to add 61 independent living units. 59 of these are going to be in a new addition, a new structure to the manor house, which you see here, the new structure to the right. And then we'll also have one new independent living unit in the second floor of the manor house here. And then we'll also talk about there is what was formerly a single family home owned by Ingleside at 3024. During the last construction process, it was used as the construction office for that. And what we're going to do is replace that with another independent living unit. That building will have the appearance of a single family home from Military Road. So just to kind of give everyone a sense of where we are and what we're talking about on this on the site. So here we have Military Road on the northern edge. This is 3024 Military Road here. These are the existing Ingleside facilities. This is the manor house. This area here, and we'll blow it up, is the new addition we're talking about, Broad Branch Road to the south. Here now we've blown that up to a little bit, so we see manor house, addition to the manor house. This is the Embassy of Tunisia. This is the Embassy of the Ivory Coast, Broad Branch Road here to the south. Now, this is a view from the interior of the campus to show the existing manor house building and then the new addition. The idea of having enough of a setback from this building to the manor house, but being respectful of the manor house and using some of the coloring and the quality of materials that we find in the manor house. I would add that right now the manor house, while part of the campus, is not really integrated into the Ingleside campus. The uses are such that the Ingleside team felt that it could better be integrated into the campus by having it be more actively used, having it be the connector of these new units to the rest of the campus, and also having a unit up on this second level. To give you a sense of, so now here, this is the new entry drive view. This is the manor house. The addition is here. This is building number 4. Previously, and we'll talk a little bit about the discussions, the dialogue we've had with the existing residents of Ingleside. Previously, we had an above grade connection that went from the manor house here over to the building so that people during times of the year when the elements are not working with us, that people could travel from this building to other buildings on the campus without having to go outside. We removed that to really provide the open views of the greenery that is really one of the true benefits of Ingleside. And then now that connection, and we'll show you later, is below grade so that people can still walk in a manner that protects them from the elements, that has some openings to look out to the green areas, but allows for this connection between the two buildings. This is now the building as we go down the hill. Here is the view you can see. So this is the Tunisian ambassador's residence here. This is 31st Street. We're looking towards the building. This is where we can see the building as the landscape, the topography of the site slopes down. 6 levels of independent living units here, 2.5 to 3 levels of parking here. We'll go through the parking in a second. This is the view of the building from Broad Branch. Again, you can see these lower level parking here, and then what we have here are in white are existing trees that will remain. We put them there just so you can know that they exist, but also we've kind of put them in white so that you can actually see the building, so that the existing trees do not block the views of the building. This is just a site section, so you can have a sense of the height of this building compared to the existing building here. This is building referred to as Building 8. This exists. This was constructed as part of the 2015 renovation. And here you can see some of the setbacks through the terracing of the building that we've shown with the manor house. This is the Tunisian ambassador's residence in front here. One of the issues that we also heard from our community was the ideas of sustainability. What are we going to do to address that through the design and construction? While we're early in the design and construction aspects, some of the things we are proposing is a green roof here on the roof of the building. This green area here, this is the entrance to the parking garage. This is the top of the parking garage, because this is a plaza area between the new addition, the manor house, and that will be a green area. We still haven't fully programmed it yet, but it will provide the opportunity for relaxation. Maybe it's bocce, maybe it's fire pits. We're still working through that. As I mentioned before, the parking. So as you said, we come down here. These are the 2 levels of parking for the residents. There will be 84 total spaces for the approximately 60 units. And then here, this is the lower level, the staff parking, 35 total staff parking. This will be accessed from Broad Branch. One of the questions that when we had these meetings, Commissioner Grunewald and Commissioner Phinizy were very helpful in coming and listening to our presentation. One of the questions was with regards to stormwater management. And so both quality and quantity will be managed through the green roof that I mentioned, as well as on-site bioretention facilities. We're still designing where those, but those will likely be located more to the south of the site, adjacent to Broad Branch. As we go through this process, we will have more details on that, but we are very much paying attention to those issues and working with the Department of Energy and the Environment. The other question that was raised was with regards to construction site logistics. And as I mentioned, Adam Latinsky is here this evening to answer any further questions. But the basic kind of parameters of what we're going to do in construction and parking will be off-site. The workers will be vanned to the site. Some vehicles will park within the footprint of the limit of disturbance. We are going to limit, if not completely make sure that no construction worker parking will occur in the adjacent neighborhoods. Similarly, materials will be stored off-site or within the limits of disturbance. All construction, our game plan is that all the construction traffic will enter the site from Broad Branch rather than Military. And we're going to do our best to limit the amount of traffic going up 31st that actually enter the construction site. We're going to have a washdown rack to make sure that trucks are clean before they're leaving the site and going on to public roads. And the process right now is that we just work within the regulated DC work hours and have no intention at this point of having special permit hours. The other question was with regards to the number of trees. Approximately 240 trees will be removed from the site as part of this new development in order to kind of meet the demand that Jamie mentioned, the 518 people on the wait list. Of those, about 38 are special trees. Those are trees that are protected, so they need to either, so we can pay the fee involved with those and also plant additional trees on the site, which we will do. In addition, there are 4 heritage trees on the site. We're going to keep 1 in place, and then we're going to move 3 of the heritage trees so that they will be in and adjacent to the site, and most likely focused down near the Broad Branch road portion of the site. Real quickly, this is a close-up view of this is 3024 Military Road here. This is just the general footprint of what would be this new additional independent living unit, and the idea it will interact with the existing Ingleside campus here. Finally, I talked before, the Ingleside team, we've met with the residents of Ingleside and Rock Creek on 3 different occasions to talk about the project, talk about what our residents want to see and address their concerns. And I talked a little bit about the connector that was previously above grade. We've moved to below grade, and they wanted to make sure that fire and emergency access is appropriately addressed. And we said that, yes, we've met with a fire marshal. Fire marshal has kind of signed off on the proposed access to the site, and also the idea of emergency vehicle access to the site as well. And we've kind of worked through with that with our community. But more importantly, we also noted that we're early in the process, just like we talked about, and that we will continue to work on the design of the building moving forward. Now, with regards to the zoning commission process. So as I mentioned, we're early. This is our initial presentation to ANC 34G tonight. Tomorrow night, we're presenting to ANC 3F. We're aim to file our actual application mid-September. The idea of that we'll spend the fall having dialogue with the community, dialogue with the ANC, with looking to have a additional presentation or presentations to the ANC this fall. Then the idea we'll have a zoning commission public hearing either late 2026 or early 2027. After we complete that process, hopefully first or second quarter of 2027, we'd like to complete, then we'd go through our building permit design and construction design documents so that we could complete that process end of 2028 or end of 2028. About a 24 to 28 month construction process. The goal that we will be completing this project end of 2030. The 3024 Military Road, a little faster. So that would be quarter 2 2029. The approximate cost of this is about $116 million. So with that, thank you for your time and attention this evening. We know you're busy. We know you've got a packed schedule, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Hey, thank you very much, Mr. Tummins. Commissioner Grunewald, do you want to lead the discussion here?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So thank you so much, Mr. Spencer and Mr. Tummins, for that presentation. If you don't mind, I'm just going to summarize it very quickly for the residents who are on this meeting tonight. It's our understanding that the key elements of the proposal include construction of an approximately 175,000 square foot, 6-story building behind and connected to Ingleside's existing old stone manor house. The new building will contain about 60 new independent living units for between 90 to 120 senior residents. Will also include construction of a 3-level parking garage underneath the 6-story building with approximately 115 to 120 parking spaces, access both from within the campus and from Broad Branch Road. It will also include an underground pedestrian walkway connecting the new building and the manor house to the existing Ingleside apartment building number 4. And it will also include demolition of an existing single-family house at 3024 Military Road that, as you said, was most recently used as a construction office for Ingleside's last expansion. And you are planning to replace it with a similarly scaled building containing 1 2-bedroom independent senior living unit. And I'd just like to say that when we met with you, the project was described as a combined parking garage apartment building that will be 9 to 10 stories tall and set back 45 feet from Broad Branch Road. That's 25 feet in from the property line, plus an additional 20 feet of public right-of-way. It will be sited on a approximately 50% slope between the embassy properties owned by the nations of Tunisia on one side and Ivory Coast on the other. And I just wanted to note for the people, the residents who are on this meeting tonight, that Ingleside has said it has no current plans to expand into the forested ravine that lies to its east and which borders the backyards of houses on the 5300 block of 29th Street. In 2015, during Ingleside's last expansion, Ingleside committed to forego development in the ravine for 20 years. So that would be at least until the year 2035. I also wanted to note that the proposal for the new 60-unit building is being characterized as an addition to the existing old stone manor house rather than as a new separate building on the campus. So as noted here this evening, the new construction will be attached or otherwise connected to the manor house. And that according to Ingleside, the proposal is part of a new zoning review process for continuing care retirement communities known as a medical campus plan. And that the zoning commission will evaluate whether the proposal is consistent with zoning regulations and whether it would adversely affect neighboring properties. It's our understanding that Ingleside's campus is located within the R1A and R1B residential zones. So I just wanted to summarize that. And I also wanted to say before I turn this over to questions from commissioners that I'd just like to say that Ingleside is a much needed and much treasured community within the greater Chevy Chase community. We love our individual Ingleside neighbors, and the administration as a whole has been a very good neighbors for the past few years. I wish this senior community every best wish and success. But with this proposed project, we will have to represent both the needs of Ingleside residents and the residents of Chevy Chase as a whole, and in particular, the needs of 200 footers and other close by neighbors. So I just wanted to mention that. And with regard to those close by neighbors, I've already heard a few concerns from the community, but what I'd like to do is turn it over to the other commissioners for questions and comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do you want me to call on them now?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, saw Commissioner Gosselin's hand first.
Yeah, Paul and Jamie and Lynn, if you're there, the last time Ingleside expanded, your organization made an agreement with the ANC about that governed the construction process. Since then, apparently the ANC proper is no longer able to make such agreements, but I'd love to know whether you would be willing to work with this ANC and perhaps an outside group to fashion a similar memo of understanding that would help neighbors with funneling their complaints to the right places, and more importantly, keep the complaints to a minimum by agreeing ahead of time to sort of rules of the construction game. I don't care which one of you answers, Paul.
Sure. Yeah, I think absolutely. You know, as you said, Ingleside has been a good neighbor, and during the last construction process, they took a lot of steps to mitigate any construction impacts, and I think we want to do the same. I think now we just need to figure out what is the process to do that. So I think we'll figure out the process, but more importantly, the substance, absolutely.
Yeah, we too need to figure out the process, but we'll work on our end if you'll help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sherman.
Yeah, let me just follow up Commissioner Gosselin's remarks because I think they're apt for the purposes at hand. We have in the history of the ANC that I'm familiar with, going back 22 years to the Knollwood expansion, and I represent Knollwood, the Knollwood retirement community. In fact, I hosted a meeting at my home yesterday among the president, vice president, community liaison person of the Knollwood Residents Association and neighbors to talk about some neighborhood issues. And we did that in the context of looking way back to the agreement the memorandum of understanding that a private group called the Knollwood Neighbors in 2004 executed with Knollwood Management for the very significant expansion of the Knollwood facilities at that time. So I mention this in the context of models of community service or community benefit agreements that we could execute. We've also had not only the experience with Knollwood in 2004, with Ingleside in 2015, 2016, 2017, as that construction was going on, but also, of course, the Murray project. So we, as a commission, now have quite a bit of experience in this area, and we have various models to go on. So I'm keenly interested in this also in terms of which model we pursue, understanding the limitations that Commissioner Gosselin referred to as handed down in an opinion from the Office of the Attorney General in 2024. So I think some type of an agreement with the neighbors, some sort of organization that would form to represent the neighbors, I think would be very important and very effective.
Thank you, Commissioner Sherman. Commissioner Nagy.
Thank you. It does seem that you all have given a lot of thought to trying to work nicely with the community, and it's a thoughtful plan, but I do have some questions about it. I'm just going to go for the nitty gritty here, guys. So, and I don't know who's going to answer this, but I'll just lay out my concerns. 253 trees coming down, 240 trees coming down. That's a lot of trees. And I'm hoping you'll be able to tell us why that many trees need to come down. And I would point out, because it's an issue everywhere else in the city, that heritage trees don't move well. They tend to be big, and they tend not to like to be moved. And so moving two heritage trees will, in all likelihood, they won't make it, in all likelihood. I was looking at the setbacks on your building, and it strikes me that the setbacks are maybe on the wrong side of the building, because it looks as if they're on the side and not on Broad Branch Road. And so what people, I looked at particularly the slide that shows what it will look like, what your building would look like from Broad Branch Road. And it's actually, 50 feet sounds like a lot, but it isn't all that much. And you're basically in a highly wooded area that resembles closely Rock Creek Park, and you're putting an apartment building on Broad Branch Road. So I wondered if you would, at a minimum, well, you could relocate your building, that would be good. But if that's not to be, putting the setbacks on Broad Branch so that you don't have a solid wall of apartment building on what's otherwise a wooded area might be a thought, if you guys are willing to think about that. It seems like a lot of traffic is going to come in through Broad Branch, not on Military. And while Military Road runs through my SMD, so I applaud the idea of not backing up traffic on Military Road, and not just because it's in my SMD, but just in general. But I think diverting all this traffic to Broad Branch, which is a small road, might be problematic. I don't know if you've looked at the consequences of that, like how many cars would be using Broad Branch, not just during construction, but during the actual running of the facility once it's built. I'm curious to know, and maybe someone will tell me kind of right now, where the limit of disturbance area is on the property.
Sure. Adam? It's Adam Latinsky. Do we have a...
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, let me
Yes.
jump in. I was just taking notes. So there was 4 items.
No, I'm sorry, just on the limits of disturbance.
No,
I'm not
Yeah.
asking you to answer the other ones, although, I mean, maybe we could have a separate conversation, because I don't want to, unless other people want to hear your answers, which would be cool.
Maybe we'll just start with the limits of disturbance, Adam. I'm sorry, I should have been
That would be good.
Sure. And Paul, if you could go to the zoom in for the New Isle residences, that's probably best. We can provide, this isn't on here shown explicitly, but there is The LOD essentially matches the footprint of the building, more or less, because we're going
Okay.
to build right up to the LOD. I'll touch on the setback just briefly because there is a setback on the side of the building that faces Broad Branch. As Paul mentioned earlier, there is a setback there. And so our LOD is going to be up to the setback
When
within the property.
when I was referring to setback, I think I misspoke, so I apologize. I'm talking about the stepped back facade, which
Oh,
I think faces one
yes.
of the embassies, not Broad Branch. And I'm sure the embassies are happy, but I bet people who use Broad Branch and think of it as a forest, essentially, would like not to have a big wall of apartments right in front of them. It is essentially an apartment building in the middle of the woods. And I have a concern about that, as you likely imagined. Where is fire and EMT access going to be?
Shall I speak to that, Paul, real quick?
Sure.
So the fire marshal had requested that there be two access points. One would be off of Broad Branch, just down, right down there on that side of the building. They want to just have access to that side of the building. The other would be internal to the property. So yeah, they would come up 31st, come into the site, and then there'd be a position right before entering the garage where they'd also position another fire engine there as well.
Okay, and the access for fire and emergency services on Broad Branch is for the whole facility. It's not just for this building, correct?
That's only required for this building, so that'd be supplemental to what exists today.
It would be required. Okay, thank you very much. And why would you characterize this as an addition rather than as a separate building?
Because there's a connection. So here, these residents here are in there. They will go down an elevator, go through the actual building, the manor house. The manor house attaches here. It connects so that people who live in the new building they go through the manor house. They go through this connector here to the building number 4, the existing building. So it's an issue because there are physical connections. And part of that we talked a little bit about was right now the manor house just kind of sits off on its own. By having this be an addition, we are really integrating this new building into the manor house, having the manor house be more integrated into the lives of residents of Ingleside.
Does that change the zoning picture because it's an addition rather than a separate building?
No, because on a medical campus too, like we have multiple buildings.
That's my next question. Thank you very much. The definition of a medical campus plan that's a zoning specific definition, and that would be found in DC statute?
That would be found. Yes, absolutely. No, it's a good question. And it's Commissioner Grunewald did a really good job of describing it. So medical campus plan includes continuing care retirement communities, and that is subtitle X, section 103 of the DC zoning regulations.
Thank you. There was a message that came up saying people would like the answer to the questions that I asked before. So
I think, yes.
I guess, Mr. Latinsky, do you want to recap those?
No, I think I can hit those.
Okay.
So with regards to the, I think as I'll go back to the larger site plan here. One of the things that Commissioner Grunewald talked about too was the commitment to this ravine, called the ravine, to many neighbors on 29th Street, to Ingleside residents and many members of the community. We wanted to keep this the ravine and not have any new development in this area. So then we're left with this, where to meet the demand that Jamie Spencer talked about for these 518 people on the wait list. Where can we find additional development opportunities on the site? This site is oddly shaped down here at the bottom, buttressed by Tunisia and the Ivory Coast as it goes down there. This was the natural place to have development that really provides the least amount of impact on the 200 footers that Commissioner Grunewald noted. So in order to to help meet the demand of the existing wait list, to protect the ravine here, this is why we chose this area. We believe that through tucking some of that parking garage into the side of the hill, we're helping to mitigate some of the visual impacts. We will, I think, as you now switch back to the idea of moving heritage trees, I think as we get more and more experience moving them, I think that helps us with the possibility of making sure that they survive that move. And then one of the things we talked about when I talked previously about the setbacks, it was really about the setback here of having this portion of the new addition be further setback from the manor house. So that's, I'm sorry, and I should mention some of the setbacks that was setting the buildings back a little bit from the manor house so that it doesn't overwhelm that portion. With regards to the traffic analysis, we will have a comprehensive transportation review, a CTR, prepared as part of this application process. We will work with DDOT, we will work with OP on making sure that we don't have any adverse traffic impacts as a result of this application. And we will be, I think I would say, our transportation review will be ready probably end of September, October. Technically, the transportation reviews are required to be filed with DDOT at least 45 days in advance of the public hearing in the case, and filed with the ANC and the Zoning Commission 30 days in advance of the public hearing in the case. But Commissioner Nagy, I really appreciate your thoughtful comments. Those are all impacts that we will continue to address through this process.
I want to give our constituents a little, not a little time, I'm going to give them more time to ask you questions, but I'll leave you with these two thoughts. Whether you would consider doing stepped back. You're welcome to the person who wanted me to ask those questions. Would you consider stepping back the facade facing Broad Branch so that it doesn't look so much like an apartment building in the middle of the woods and looks more like maybe chalet, dare I say? Okay, that's one thing. And the other thing is, would you consider preserving the ravine for beyond 2035, agreeing to preserve the ravine beyond 2035? And I'm sure we'll have more discussion on all these questions later, but I'm going to turn it back over to Chair Phinizy so that constituents can ask their questions. Oh, I see Commissioner Sherman.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you very much for your answers. I appreciate them.
Sure. I do want to go to the constituents first, Commissioner Sherman, so they give them an opportunity, but I do see you. Mrs. Linda White, Ms. White?
We hear so much about so-called affordable housing in DC and other places too, and some new construction. Developers are required to provide a percentage of so-called affordable units. So I'm wondering if there are plans to provide such units at Ingleside. And this question is really for both the commissioners and the Ingleside staff, because I guess what I'm wondering is it something the commissioners think is worth pursuing? And then from the Ingleside side, okay, is that something you are already considering?
I'll just speak to that. When Commissioner Grunewald and I went over to Ingleside, I believe I asked about affordable housing for staff on the property, if that would be included, because for a lot of the workers, the transportation is difficult with bus and so forth, and but they've got a lot of constraints on their end as well. That's an interesting point. I'm going to go to Mr. Simone, Cal.
So I have two comments. One, I want to echo the concern about the trees that was previously mentioned. And as we'll be pulling trees out of the actual neighborhood, as close as we get to the actual concentration of the neighborhood, and this is right on the edge between the park and the neighborhood, we need trees to breathe, frankly. And the more if we keep pulling out trees for this and the other, we humans will not be able to breathe because we won't get oxygen put back in the air. So I have it does sound like a large number of trees to me, 240. So I have the same concerns and questions about that the earlier commissioner mentioned. The other comment is about bus service, which is, I know that a number of the workers at Ingleside and some of the residents, I have a resident that calls me regularly to talk to me about this, but, need to take those buses that are running along Military Road. It'd be great if the buses could actually come into the property and have a stop somewhere in the property, or something like that. But if you have now residents who are living on the south side of the property, which is a full 2 blocks of uphill to get to the nearest bus stop, which would be 31st and Military as it stands right now, since at the moment there are no stops between 31st and 27th Street on Military. That's a concern that I would like to see addressed in your plans.
Thank you, Cal, for that specific information. Good questions. Commissioner Simmons.
Well, is there a possibility I could get a response?
Um,
Well,
I
sure.
don't-
I mean, I think as we said, we're coming here like, and first, maybe this goes in general. The concerns about the trees, we hear you. The section of the bus service, I think that will absolutely be addressed as part of our comprehensive transportation review. And so we'll make sure that as we are moving forward into the fall and having further discussions with the community, with the ANC, these are issues that we'll be prepared to address in more detail.
Yeah, and
Paul,
I'm part of a group called the Friends of Bus Transit that works closely with AMATA. So I'm going to put my email address in the chat for you. Well, I don't know if I can in this chat.
You can send it to the host and co-host, and we'll be glad to repost it.
Okay.
And then, Paul, while you're there, do you want to speak to Mrs. White's question about thoughts on affordable housing?
Well, right now, so the zoning regulations do not require affordable housing for continuing care retirement communities. So there is no zoning requirement that there be affordable like there is for a multifamily housing project. Or say for, similarly, there's no affordable housing requirement for dormitories on college campuses. But we hear you, and we'll continue to look at, what we can do.
Thank you, Paul. Commissioner Sherman, your hand was first, but Commissioner Simmons hasn't spoken on this yet. So I'm going to go to her first, and then I'll come back to you. Commissioner Simmons?
Yes, hi, thank you. I understand the concern about the trees, but I do know at one point our area of Chevy Chase was like farmland and full of trees. So I understand that. So just Ingleside, I know you guys mentioned that you're going to replant trees. Do you know how many number of trees you're going to replant? And then secondly, I just wanted to add to Ms. White, I am a commissioner who would support affordable housing or some type of affordability into the project. Dormitories, they do not provide affordable housing, but at one point there was financial aid and grants in which people who could not afford dormitory would be provided with financing so that they could live in a dorm through like work study, Pell Grants. I don't know if all that stuff is still around. So I guess if you all could be cognizant and think about maybe, if there is someone who wants to live there and is in need of their that one-time fee to be waived, or if they're not, I say hypothetically, if it's $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month, that you set aside some options of it to be $5,000 or a little bit more affordable. I know you're a nonprofit, so there may be options through different grants or community foundations in which you could utilize funding to help residents who may be in of need of that in Washington, D.C. So just something for you all to think about through your growth plans and all of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And Commissioner.
Yeah. Paul, could you walk us through your timeline again? I think you mentioned that you aim to submit your application in September. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, that is correct. So campus plan applications have a 45-day notice of intent period. So we mailed that out on July 1st. The notice of intent period does not count days in August. So the earliest we could file would be September 15th based on our July 1 filing. But I think we want to work with that. So we file in mid-September, then the typical scheduling would put us into that late 2026, early 2027.
Right. So the thought I have, of course, is what is the opportunity for community engagement, not prospectively, but in response to your actual application once you have that. Since we do have the entire month off, month of August off on recess, we come back then, and at about the time that you're looking at submitting the application, the commission would resume its meeting schedule. So this is a question for you guys, but it's also for my fellow commissioners, and how we, and particularly Commissioner Grunewald, would aim to engage the community given the schedule.
Yeah, I think we can, yeah. I mean, truthfully, October, November would be my sense of when we're coming back. Late October, November, we'd be coming back to make presentations to the ANC.
You'd make presentations, though, post submission of the application.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Right. So that's the issue, in that I think once the application is submitted, my experience in these matters tells me there's somewhat limited opportunity for community members to influence the application itself. Certainly, the community and the commission can discuss the application. The commission can discuss its position vis-a-vis the application with respect to the BZA. But what opportunity would there be? And again, this isn't just a comment or a question for you, Paul, and the Ingleside colleagues, but for fellow commissioners. Are we all, I just want to have us be present here in the moment and think about the schedule here and what kind of conversation we're going to have with the community prior to the application being submitted.
Yeah, and I think, but I would say, Commissioner Sherman, those are really good ideas. Truly, the process, the dialogue starts now. That's why we're here. That's why we're here on July 13th, so that people can start having dialogue. So we've heard a lot of the good comments from the commissioners from the community tonight. We'll start working on that. But also so that's from us. We'll start, addressing those comments, those questions we've heard. But then also, we're ready to work with you, and we can, when I know I'm trying to say, Commissioner Grunewald and I started talking about this project. Was it March, April? And so I think we've started to talk about this and make sure that we're doing this, but we want to make sure that you, the ANC, feels you've had adequate time to review this project and the community as well.
Yeah, I would just say that I've had the opportunity of going back and reading the resolution that the commission passed in December of 2014 for the prior Ingleside renovation. And of course, I'm deeply familiar with the MOU for the Moray project. And these are very technical, very detailed projects, needless to say. There are lots of moving parts. There are lots of considerations. And I will share with my colleagues that resolution from 2014 because it walks through myriad considerations that the ANC took into account that I think are very instructive for this project, because it's Ingleside again. And therefore, I'm not saying it's a blueprint. And we're very mindful of the fact that we cannot establish the same type of task force as we had back then. But when we take a look at that resolution, many, many issues come to mind that I think our community and our commission would want to have a conversation with you all about before the application goes in.
Thank you, Commissioner Sherman. We have about 5 minutes left. Commissioner Grunewald?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Chair Phinizy. I do agree with what Commissioner Bruce Sherman just said. I believe that our community is very concerned about this project. And as I said earlier, with this proposed project, we will have to represent both the needs of Ingleside residents and the residents of Chevy Chase as a whole, and in particular, the needs of the 200 footers and other close by neighbors. And I just wanted to give you a sense of some of the concerns that I have heard of from constituents. So we can get an idea of, the number of things that we need to talk about before you submit this to the zoning commission. So I have constituents who are concerned about additional impervious surfaces in the community, especially on such a steep slope. They're concerned about water runoff, damaging homes, roads, and the natural environment. Some people are concerned that the agreement that Ingleside had made in 2015 to not develop into the forested ravine to the east of the campus, but they think that the moratorium until 2035, I'm sorry, but they think that the moratorium should be permanent, or failing that, extended much further into the future than 2035. I've heard some people say that they have concerns about overdevelopment and say that this proposal is like placing a 10-story apartment building in Rock Creek Park. I mean, the area is in the immediate vicinity of Rock Creek Park, and it's completely forested. So this would be unprecedented, having a large apartment building in this area. Some others have mentioned that this would be a precedent-setting development that would open up other single-family zoned areas in the R1A and R1B zones to similar development with 9 and 10-story apartment buildings. And I've had a couple of people say, and I'm not saying this is my opinion, but I'm just reporting to you what I've heard. Some have stated that perhaps Ingleside at Rock Creek Park has reached the limit of what it can reasonably place on this property and should possibly consider opening an additional campus at another location. And they say, especially considering that in order to house the current list of 518 current applicants that you currently have, you'd have to build a campus that's more than twice as big as the current campus on the current site. And of course, that could not be accomplished. And apropos of some of the concerns that I've heard, I would like to ask you if you could possibly show us. I understand that the Ingleside campus sits on both in the R1A zone and R1B zone, and was wondering if you could show us the zoning map, and also show us a map of the boundaries of Rock Creek Park, which is nearby, and the Peruvian ambassador's residence as well. Some other people express concerns about the 3-story solid wall of parking garage that will face Broad Branch Road. Other people had concerns about how emergency trucks and personnel would reach residents in a location with such difficult terrain, and so on and so forth. Some people wanted to know how the green roof will handle all the water runoff. And those are all the comments I've heard so far. So just to warn you that there are some concerns out in the community that need to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Grunewald. Commissioner Gore.
Yes, my question is for the commission. Are we going to put the Ingleside previous task force documents on our website? I went on there to look for them today and I did not see them. So I think that's important historical information for the community and commissioners.
Okay, good point. And we can look at getting those on the website.
Thank you.
No. Well taken. Okay, I actually also, I had the similar comment to the to Commissioner Greenwald's about the ravine and extending that, because I think what we see is that while this timeline ends for this project really ends about 2029, maybe 2030, then that's not very far from the expiration of the ravine moratorium, and extending that moratorium, I think, would give a lot of peace of mind to the community. That would be one of my senses. Another thought is with the with what Commissioner Nagy said about stepping down towards Broad Branch Road. I know that I had asked it when I met with you guys a few weeks ago about maybe making it like a ziggurat, step down both sides, and you wanted to keep the same number of apartments. But I wonder if you were able to flip it so that the sheer face was it towards the interior of Ingleside and the step down was more toward Broad Branch. Do you have slide 12 of your original presentation that shows sort of the number of stories? I don't know if, yes, that one. So if and I don't know if you can zoom in, but on the where it kind of steps up from the manor house. So that step up is on the interior of the Ingleside campus, but the public facing space, which is on the right of your slide, on the south of the lawn, is very sheer, and it comes up, double the height of the telephone poles. So if that were flipped, and so the sheer height went up on the interior of the campus, and the step down were towards Rock Creek, it would still preserve the same number of apartments, but not be such a wall of building visible from Broad Branch. So that was just a thought I had. Okay. So we're now at the time for our next presentation. So Paul, do you want to send to the host and co-host? Do you have contact information that was on the last slide that you want us to post? Or what's the best way for people should they send comments to the commissioners? Do you want people to send comments to you guys directly? How do you want to do it?
Well, I want to take the burden off of Commissioner Grunewald, Commissioner Phinizy, to the degree. Yeah, whatever's best for you. I can send you my contact information that you can then put up on the website. And then I think Commissioner Gore had a good idea of putting, I know in previous applications of this size before the commission, there's separate headings, documents, files, whatever you can pull up. Yeah, we can absolutely provide you with contact information. And it would make sense to come through me, and then I can make sure that it's getting to the appropriate people on our team. So how about we do it that way?
So you're the contact person, and then to branch out from your end. Okay. And I'll put that out, and I'll look for those historical documents. That's been a work in progress to get information up there. But I think we're at a point where the website seems to be working well. So thank you so much for coming. Commissioner Grunewald, closing remarks?
I just wanted to add, perhaps the best place for residents to send their comments is to the ANC, since we're going to have to consider this project with all the participants in mind, not just Ingleside.
Okay, thank you.
What do you think?
All right, Commissioner Sherman.
Yeah, just very quickly, this is an ideal project for Go Vocal as a platform to provide information to the community about a project of complexity and solicit comments on that. I would think that this would be a great opportunity to use that. Let me just, though, flag one thing and lay down a marker for me here. I'm not going to vote or wish to proceed to move forward on this without a full opportunity. I was referring to this earlier, to look at the application and have the community look at the application. It's critical that we and the community see it in detail and understand what exactly is being proposed before it's submitted. If that means pushing it back some, or proposing or suggesting to Ingleside that they push this back a bit, then that may be necessary. So I just wanted to make that very clear from my side.
Thank you, Commissioner Sherman. And Commissioner Simmons?
Yes, just the last piece that I was going to add was that I have a little bit of reservation of the commission trying to be intimately involved in this project. I just want us to be cognizant that Ingleside owns their property. And I know for myself, I don't want people specifically, because we're not an HOA, to tell me what I can and can't do. So I know there was a request for the moratorium to be permanent. I just hope Ingleside will make the best decision for the community and their nonprofit organization and who they serve, and think about, I know I'm gonna be old one day, an older person, and I would love to have assisted living to give my family a break. And so I just want to make sure that people have an opportunity to go to those types of places, because a lot of my residents age in place, and it's really sad in seeing people not having their end of life be a place of dignity. So that's all I just would like to add. So thank you. And I hope you all will look into opportunities for people who may not be able to financially go there, but would like to go there. That would be wonderful. So thanks.
Thank you. All right. And thank you, Paul. And thank you everyone from Ingleside for coming.
Thank you. Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. And we'll look forward to a continued conversation. Okay, so now we have the next on the agenda, we have Trevorrow Culpeppers here, and I think I see Ann Walters. Did I see Ann from DC Plug? To talk about Pepco outages. As you know, we had thank you. I see you, Ann. Great. We had a really rough week. The week from like July 1st to 8th was a significant heat wave, but not just during that wave, but also before. We've had more and more frequent outages than we had been having. And so several of us have been getting complaints from constituents about the frequency, about the duration, about sort of lack of explanation and communication about it. And would really like to understand what is going on, what's the prognosis for the future, what can be done to help the situation, as we, many of us have situations that might be medical, and we have refrigerators for medications. You may have situations where you got finicky appliances, and then just pure convenience, right? But we all depend on Pepco, so we'd like to see how we can be more informed and get to a more reliable situation. So Trevorrow, he's here from Pepco, and then Ann Walters is from DC Plug that's been doing the undergrounding work. Trevorrow, would you like to speak a little bit about what's been going on like the last month or so?
Yes, and I'll actually share my screen. And first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to come before you and talk to you. And thank you for reaching out to us during the 4th of July break to share with us the experience that residents have been having. Obviously, it's not a good place that we want to be in, but definitely wanted to come before you to share what our findings were, as well as some corrective actions that we've already taken, and also give an update on some reliability work, particularly around the Van Ness substation that we're currently doing some maintenance work on, and also DC Plug. I'm joined by two of my colleagues, Stephen Parks, who's here as well. He's the senior manager of engineering, as well as Sina Kabira, who's also the manager of engineering as well. And they'll talk to you first, Stephen, about some of the outages that you shared with me that customers have experienced over the most recent events. And then Sina will talk a little bit about our corrective actions that we've taken. So I'll turn it over to Stephen Parks to kind of share a little bit more information.
Thank you, Travis. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Park. I'm the senior manager for the Pepco engineering. So my team handles all the new business work and also reliability and system work that's around the DC and also parts of our Maryland properties. So I'm here to really try to kind of go over some of the outage experience that you have and try to give you some of the stories about why that may be happening. And Commissioner, as you mentioned about you've had the recent more frequent outages that you've experienced, and hopefully that's not normal to what you've been experiencing. From our data perspective, it's not. You've been just having some of the recent information, some of the outages out there, and we can explain that a little bit here. So we're gonna hit on some of the events on June 20th, 26th, and July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 7th, which was really hot days there. And it really all stems from June 2nd. So right now, a lot of the communities here are served by feeder 5944. That's a feeder number that we use to basically identify what other people call it circuits. It's coming from Van Ness substation, and we actually have a improvement plan right now for the Van Ness substation to strengthen the reliability of the substation, and we're replacing a switchgear. And during that time, the substation actually have 4 different transformers that feeds the entire area. However, one of them we have to taken out for temporarily. While that's happening, the feeders, the customers on the 5944 was just redistributed to 14980 and a few other feeders. And that happens normally with the operations. We have redundant capacities down there. We call them N-1 and -2. So normal -1. So right now, Vanna sub is operating at an N-1 contingency. So that's the start of it. So June 1st, we were actually doing some of the start the work on the substation, and that got us to the community here who was dispersed with 15944 was split into different feeders. So now June 20th, that's actually and the reason I mentioned that is that because other feeders are feeding the community right now, it's abnormal situation. It's a temporary, but it's abnormal. It's not normal feeder schematics. So where other feeders are really picking up different loads, right? So they're working a little bit harder for during that time of it. So when June 20th came out, started getting a little bit heat with the neighborhood and with the DC area. We had a cable failure. So we had such equipment failure out there, but we call it the cable splice failure as equipment failure. So when you talk about the pack, so we call them pre-assemble the cable. So you're gonna see if you go out in the poles out there, you see two different type of wires, right? So there's normally you see 3 wires going out on a cross arm. So that's what's called the open wire system. While we have what's called the pack, which is kind of underground cable, and we touch the pole. They're a lot more reliable from the tree falling on them and type of thing, with the branches falling on them. However, there is a splice there. It's a little bit more technically piece the way where it could fail at times. Especially it doesn't like the heat, the cold and heat. So when you had a really cold winter, this winter and a really hot summer, all the materials does expand and shrink and whatnot, and sometimes that leaves a little bit of gap where water penetrates and sometimes they can fail. Unfortunately, there's no way for the Pepco to actually go ahead and pre-identify that. So sometimes it is unfortunate, but we did have the pack failures, which caused in June 20th. So that's one. And then you have June 26th. I do understand that we had a couple of momentaries. So when we call it momentaries, it's less than 5 minutes. The Public Service Commission and all of the utilities, those measuring the reliability of the customers, we normally do not count 5 minutes or less as a permanent outage. So it's a momentary. So those are records a really bit harder for us to dig up. So when you saw that, you got the community's customers had a couple of momentary outages. We actually had to go down to some AMI data and see exactly what happened. So what we found out that time was that June 26th, started weather getting really hot. So our control center was doing a lot more of a maneuvering of, hey, you know what? Let's move some of the customers to more reliable feeders for a certain portion of it. When you do that, sometimes we do have to take some of the customers out momentarily before we switch back to another feeder and whatnot. So those are the 2 momentary outages that a lot of the customers experienced there. And then July 2nd, we have a different location, the pack failed. So June 20th. Now, both one in June 20th and June 20th pack failure, we were able to go back and permanently fix in July 9th. The reason why we had to go back to July 9th was that it didn't stretch from the, in June 20th and all the way to July 7th, there was a lot of a storm and weather event where, our crews, we're just able to get the crews to the locations. So what happened was that we actually kind of temporarily isolated those areas and had all the crews come back in and permanently restore on 7/9. It's basically on 7/9, all those failed splices got replaced with the brand new, and they should be good for a long time there. And July 3rd, there was another outage out there. There's a system maintenance again. So the company does transfer the customers from various different feeders on a need basis and the load basis and the weather time when not. So that's when a short outage happened there. And July 4th, we're still looking at that a little bit, but so July 4th we looked at the timeline and it's really depending on which area you lived in. So for my neighborhood, the weather pattern was a little bit later, but however, looking at the timeline for that, it was just before the storm, some of the winds out there. But the one thing that we can say is, it could be storm wind condition, or it can be branch falling off on those trees where, has a momentary outage. What happens with the tree falling or animals crossing the lines? We have a device called recloser, which opens up and temporarily disconnects that. And then if it's temporary situation, what it does, it actually try to heal itself, try to close it in, energize the lines, and it'll do it twice. And if there's still the fault exists, what the system will do is say, hey, you know what? I have a permanent fault where I need somebody to go out there and fix it. So they'll open up, and we have to send the crew out. So having a momentary is, I know it's not very convenient for the customers, but it's actually, you get your power back on a lot quicker than probably a couple of hours or more when that happens. And then July 7th, you have another outage down there. This one's really large tree falling, the power lines. So after certain storms and a lot of rains, sometimes actually trees still fall outside that window for some reason. It's during that, storm, like people understand that, but we also say, a couple of days later, we have a large tree falling, when that type of thing. So it does happen where we have to go and isolate it and correct that. So at least that's some of the history that I can give you. Maybe some of the customers may have experienced more or maybe less, depending on which feeder they were on. But this is a kind of representation of some of the things that my team has found as far as what outage was during that time.
Chair Phinizy, before we move on, could we just ask a question about these events? I mean, being told there are outages doesn't help me understand how many people were affected, and particularly how long they were affected. I mean, you have a 19-day window there between the June 20th thing and the repairs. That seems like a hell of a long time. Would it be all right if we just pursued some questions at this point before we go on?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Did you get duration or number of customer affected data for this?
So we did not have that prepared, so we can get back to you if that's what you desire. So some of the information, like I said, in a momentary with less than 5 minutes, we may not be able to get information, but some of the large outages out there, we do have a number of customers that were impacted.
Yeah, again, just to share, just to reiterate that point that most of the outages were momentary outages, but I think that June 1st one was I think about an hour or so, but we can go back and get like you said, that specific information. Share it.
Commissioner Gosselin?
Just in addition to duration, first of all, just let's take June 2nd. Presumably, an electric utility can switch between feeders without knocking people out. Were people knocked out? No.
On June 2nd, June 2nd is not an outage. So the reason I mentioned that is that's when the feeders came, the serving the Chevy Chase area went to abnormal situation. It's not. So we have a normal configuration that we like to have for our feeders and for the customers. So each feeders can feed anyone from 500 customers to 2,000 customers. But that day,
the notion there is you had more limited ability to respond
that
to
is correct.
Problems because you didn't have as many feeders. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So June 20th, how many people lost power because of that equipment failure?
Yeah, so I don't have that information right off the bat, but we can research that.
We don't have duration and we don't have numbers. Is that right?
Right.
And I'm just stunned to see, and I'm probably like the only geeky person on this call who actually knows what PAC is, but I used to live on MacArthur Boulevard when they were going to take down all the street trees and they were talking about the PAC, So if you guys go up 32nd Street, like between Oliver and Patterson, it's like a big, maybe about as wide as my forearm. It's like 3 wires kind of stranded. It's big. Yeah. Maybe as round as a tennis ball. And we've got PAC there. I mean, they sold it to us in the Palisades, like, a power pole could come down, a whole tree could come down on this thing, that this was the toughest, roughest stuff out there. But now I'm hearing that after extremes of cold heat, that it basically can be unreliable.
No, that's not what it's. So I'm sorry if I gave that impression. It is still the strongest overhead system. However, there is equipment and splice that we have to make. So if the continuous pack cable, yeah, it's almost indestructible. But also every material that we put up, every wire we have is have a lifespan as well. So, but the splice is where the two packs come together. We have to make a joint.
So it's the
That's
joint.
when, yeah, that's where,
Okay.
the materials can, due to temperatures and whatnot, it can get the moistures in and whatnot. So that's the moisture is the biggest thing about the electricity in a pack cable type system.
Are those joints somehow encased in something waterproof, or are they?
They are definitely waterproofed, but they're take a little more longer time to build and master. It's not just just connecting your copper wire to copper wire with another copper coupling. This has a lot of cutbacks to this. There's probably like 5 different layers of things that you have to cut out. They actually have a very specific how many millimeters you have to cut out from each cable and put it all together. So it takes a little bit of mechanics care and whatnot. But once it's built, yeah, it'll last for a very long time.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Mr. Hayward.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know how to raise my hand.
Yeah, I can see you. You're good. Thank you.
So do I understand correctly that Pepco doesn't regard the momentaries as a matter of concern?
No, we don't. So from the measuring perspective, so there is with the Public Service Commission and all the utilities that we compare, we go by the IEEE kind of standards. So what they say is that, under 5 minutes, it's considered a momentary. And sometimes we do get momentary based on just switching, right? So, and the other thing is with all the recloads that we have in the system now, we have opportunity to get, instead of customers out for 2 hours, customers restore them within, 2 to 3 minutes.
Can you provide any warning when you're going to be doing that?
No, so some of the longer planned outages we do. But there is sometimes, the biggest thing is how do we get to the customers, right? So sometimes it's operations. Our operations have to disconnect the customers or, turn the feeder off because of the fire trucks and emergency situations and whatnot. There's not really time to really communicate all that with the customers. However, the planned work that we do, and we have the switching, we have a capability of putting either door taggers on to individual neighbors or have a pre-call saying that, hey, we're going to have temporary outages at a certain time. So we do that. But a lot of cases that we see at outages out there, these are unplanned where, we don't have a time to really react and inform the
I've lived in
customers.
my house for 30 plus years, and I've never experienced the number of momentaries that we experienced in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so that's a good thing, right? So we also looked at your feeders, the history, and then that's what we saw. We saw, hey, it's a very reliable feeders. And the only reason that we're having it because we have Venice substation was working a little bit harder because of its N-1 condition. And we have to kind of switch the customers off of the different various areas. So, there's a few different situations we can't. So a lot of times with our extensive system, we can't always pinpoint what happened. We'll have some signal saying that where things are happening, how long, which customers are out. However, to pinpoint some of the outage causes can be a little bit different. But my team, the CNA was in the call with me. His team is actually going every time there was an outage out there, they do go out and try to look at and try to find out what happened with that. And they also come up with the improvement plans based on what they're finding.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Grunewald.
Yes, some of the complaints that Chair Phinizy sent to you were from my constituents, and they were basically being driven crazy by these momentary and sometimes long-lasting outages. And as Mr. Hayward said, people have been here for 4 decades and have never seen it this bad. So it's all very complicated. You're explaining all this, but everybody's mostly interested in what the solution is to the problem. How can we prevent this from happening in the future?
Right. So so it was actually Trevor Swarsky put the next step on there. So what we're doing. But one thing I can mention that to you, Commissioner, is that this is a temporary situation right now, and that's why you're having a little bit more momentaries than we should. This should go back to all normal configuration back in end of July. So within about 2 weeks out there, you'll be in normal configuration. I hope, by the way, so the other thing is that, we also looked at it. I don't think there was any more momentaries after the really heat wave that we had. So the reasoning is really the Venice substation maintenance work with the high heat that we had during the July. That's a combination for why you have a little bit more momentary outages than we'd like you to have experienced.
But our climate is getting hotter. We're not getting cooler. Our climate is going to get worse and worse every summer. So hopefully you'll be able to figure this out, no?
Right. No, so yeah, one thing is, again, the substation was actually, we're doing some work down there. So it's not the normal configuration, right? So if it was normal configuration, that 100-degree heat, we shouldn't have any problem with that. And we shouldn't have experienced momentaries in normal cases. Again, so this is a combination of substation work, which kind of put stress on our system with the high heat that came up and some of the minor storms that came through the area. Those are the kind of causes those outages.
Okay, so then I see here that we have these corrective actions. So
Yeah, I'm gonna have a scene.
do you want to just go through them quickly here? And I know you said so we'll be out of this N-1 situation at the end of the July.
That is correct.
Okay, so what else is going to happen here? Can you tell us how we're going to make it better?
Yeah, Sina, you want to take that?
Sure. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. This is Sina Kabiri. I'm the manager for Pepco Engineering. I oversee the system and reliability of the Pepco system that, again, as Stephen mentioned, is DC and Montgomery County and PG County. And I report to Stephen, so Stephen's my boss here. I'm trying to behave myself right now. But jokes aside, we totally understand how frustrating these repeated interruptions are. And again, we say 5 minutes. It doesn't mean that all these momentary outages are 5 minutes. We're talking about our KPI and data recording. We say up to 5 minutes. So it's a lot of those, and you have experienced it firsthand. You know already, unfortunately, that some of these interruptions could be seconds. Could sometimes you don't even see and feel. It could be milliseconds. A lot of these switchings that Stephen mentioned, we try to, if we have to do them, we try to schedule them at very time in hour. If there's going to be a momentary interruption of a second or a minute or maybe 2 minutes, we try to do it like at 2 o'clock in the morning so that our customers don't even realize that the switching has happened. But with all that said, we have a lot of notes here, but I'm gonna go because this is the important part, the corrective action part of it. One thing that I need to mention is that those PAC cable faults that happened, that had the longer duration outages, were not on your normal feeder. We're on the backup feeder that you're on right now because of the work that we're doing in substation. So we were transferred from last two digits of 44 to 80. And those PAC failures were both on 14980. It was not on your normal feeder. That's why your normal feeder we have searched the history over the past few years, is actually a very reliable feeder, knock on wood. And those two failures have already been, those two PAC failures have already been fixed, repaired. And I had my team to go patrol both of the feeders, inspecting when they patrol it, they walk the line down, they drive around, they look at all those stress points where the failures could potentially happen, and they bring the data information back. So we found out, let me pull up my own notes here. We found and this is a lot of it is because of those minor wind events or storms that we had, and another one that was actually a kind of like a more major storm. But we have found, let me count them, 1, 2. We have found 2 animal guards that needs to be replaced. We have found 1, 2, 3 locations that need tree trimming, and then 2 PAC failures that were both repaired. So on top of those tree trimmings, again, our tree trimming, when it's in the right of way, we have schedule that we do that tree trimming, do the vegetation management, and but when we have these reoccurring issues that happens, we proactively get that ahead of the schedule and try to go trim it before these trees and the tree limbs and whatnot fall on the lines and cause these outages or momentary outages. I'm going to pause here. Is there any questions that I can answer?
I have a question for you.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I see Commissioner Nagy. Commissioner Nagy, please go.
Thank you. I actually have 3 points that I wanted to make. Okay, momentary outages seem momentary to you, but they don't feel momentary to my appliances or the appliances of other customers. And one of the complaints that I hear from my constituents is that these momentary little power surges and failures and then a surge to bring power back on damage their equipment. And you probably know better than I do about what happened last summer and people's air conditioning systems, HVAC systems being fried by the power surges. So when you have these little momentary surges that don't seem like a big deal to you, they seem like a bigger deal to us. I mean, my range tells me when there's a power failure, and that tells me that it failed and then it surged back up, had to surge back up. So I would just commend your attention the idea that momentary outages are not benign in the way that you might think that they are. The Van Ness substation, does that serve all of Chevy Chase?
I'm not sure, Stephen. Do you know?
Yeah, a lot of Chevy Chase.
How big? How many?
Do you know
Yep.
what the trajectory is for that substation? Does it cover the east side of Connecticut Avenue? Does it come to the west side of Connecticut Avenue?
So our feeder school actually kind of various ways out there. So from Van Ness substation, it's probably the little southern side of the Chevy Chase, and it feeds most of the Chevy Chase neighborhoods there. And we have also Little Falls substation on the west side of it, also feeding some parts of the Chevy Chase as well.
Okay, so the Little Falls one would come down from the north to the north part of Chevy Chase, and the Van Ness substation covers
Kind of comes
southern
up north.
portion of Chevy Chase. And, okay, thank you. And that I am a little confused about the timeline for making sure that the Van Ness substation is operating as it's supposed to, because you said the end of July, and this says on my screen, it says completion expected by fall.
It is going to be July. So just to confirm that, yes.
Okay, so earlier than the fall. So that's good. And the tree limb that caused this, where was that? That caused some of the power outage? Where was that? Do you
I believe
know?
that it was on July 9th. I think the most recent outage was because of a tree limb.
Yes, it was the outage on Casada, near Casada and Broad Branch.
And why did it take so long to fix to do the repair from July 2nd until from June 20, whatever. Can you go back to the previous screen, please? Thank you. June 20th. It took till July 9th, 2 weeks to fix that? Why?
So I can answer that question. Actually, it's a part of it is in the third slide. You're all asking the very good questions here. What we do when we have this type of outages, emergency outages, we have a trouble crew that goes out there and they assess the damage. They isolate the damage. They isolate the fault or the damage or whatever it has. First of all, they make it safe for the public and for the next crews that are going to come and do it. So they go there, isolate it. If there's something that's simple enough that the trouble crew can fix it themselves, they will just fix it right there and then. But something like pack cable, as Stephen was also trying to explain a little bit, is that it's more to it than just a simple connection. They have to make splices. They have to bring specialized crews to do that type of work. So as much as it is reliable, and it is also on the other hand very expensive to make and very expensive to maintain on the company side, but it's also the result of it makes it more reliable. But when there is a fault on the system, it doesn't mean that you're going to be necessarily out during the whole duration. So the trouble crew goes out there, they get instructions from our control center to how to isolate the fault and how to transfer the load to another feeder. In your case, it would have been a third feeder that was adjacent, that was available. So there was a tie, what we call it a tie, made to transfer your load from that feeder 14980 to another feeder until we get back in and fix this cable. So what we do on our end, we had a very eventful week over the Pepco territory, especially on the Montgomery County side. And we also had a lot of major outages in our neighboring utilities in Pico, in BG, Baltimore, Pico in Pennsylvania, and Delaware. So everyone got impacted by this last week's weather that came in. It was a combination of very hot weather and a lot of winds and rain and thunderstorms. So we prioritize, first of all, obviously, the customers that are out of power. So we try to attack those and restore the power as much as we can, as quickly as we can, and obviously as safe as we can. And then all these get recorded as circuits out of configuration. So we record all this data as circuits out of configuration, and then we go back and start tackling them and start repairing them, putting them back to normal configuration. I hope that explanation makes sense, but it goes in the order of priority for us. And then again, it doesn't mean that you were out from the 20th to the 2nd.
I want to say thank you, by the way, for coming and subjecting yourself kind of to our questions. It's really very much appreciated. But with respect to something you just said,
Sure.
I was contacted during two of these outages by somebody who's disabled.
Sure.
And who was able to leave her home because her daughter lives nearby. And so she could leave, but other people who contacted me could not. And so, do you have any idea of which of your customers are severely affected by these outages, like who are disabled, who rely on CPAPs or oxygen machines or the like? And how do you deal with that?
We have a emergency notification program that's opt-in. You have to actually opt into that, where we ask customers to let us know if they have those life-saving devices, and they usually have to have something written from their doctor to satisfy that. And any time that there's a scheduled outage or something like that, we give priority to those customers when they have outages. When there's storms, we're notified that there are customers that are on life-saving devices that way. But we do ask people to let us know that information.
I would love the information for the opt-in, but how does that work when there's an unscheduled outage?
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so like we said, when there's unscheduled outages, these are typically emergency type situations, and we're working to obviously that will be notified that there is a customer that is on a life-saving device, and obviously we'll be working to restore those customers when there is emergency outages.
Okay.
Yeah.
People
we have a
go ahead. Sorry.
In addition, we have our control center keeps a list of our critical customers. That not only includes the disabled customers that are on life-saving support equipments, but also like all of our schools, our hospitals, our emergency responders. There's a big list of critical customers. But yes, all the customers that Travers was explaining, this is his area of expertise as well. But the customers can notify Pepco to put them on the list. And one of the things that I did not get to mention, and we didn't put it here. Another thing that we do in our emergency response is that we evaluate the basically to see if we can use temporary generation. We have different types of generators available to Pepco, and depending on the location, logistics, and also we also look at the time frame. So when our damage assisters and our trouble crews, first responders get on site, they will they will contact their supervisors, if their field supervisors or our engineering team, and we start the conversation that if it's going to be a longer duration outage, we're going to see if it's feasible to deploy generators to the customers, which we have done in the past. We have variety of them in different sizes, and we can use them across the system, and we have done that in the past. And sometimes even when we have larger major outages because of storm or related items, we can even have the availability to rent generators from our vendors if we use all of ours, basically.
Would you work with the ANC to pull that information together so that we can disseminate it to our constituents and get them the information that they need, so that if there is an outage and their critical equipment goes down, we can help them not suffer?
Yeah, I can provide that emergency notification information so that it is available to constituents. Absolutely.
Thank you. That would be great if you could just send it to the commission, and we'll wrap it into something to send out to the public.
Most certainly.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you again for coming.
Did I answer all your questions? I would just want to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
Thank you.
You did. Thank you.
And you still have two other commissioners who would like to ask questions. So I hope we can extend the time a little bit past 9:15 if you're available. Commissioner Gosselin?
Two quick questions. Just to confirm what Trevor said, when the Van Ness substation is going to be back in improved operation with the more reliable feeder 15944 by the end of July. Is that right?
That is correct.
Excuse me?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. Okay. So then you'll have more options to deal with problems as they come up. And again, just to clarify what Sinha said, in addition to the two that got knocked out that were in your page 2 timeline of event overview, when your people walked the lines, did they find 2 other packs that were out? I thought it was 2 and 2. Is that right?
It was 2 pack cables. I mentioned there were 2 animal guards that were damaged. One of them was missing. One of them was damaged. The animal guards are basically like to simplify it, it's a plastic cover that goes around equipment. So squirrels, raccoons, other animals, when they can short the between the lines and cause faults. So those animal guards, basically, as the name says, they guard the system against the animals, birds, raccoons, squirrels, and stuff like that.
Just so I understand, so you didn't find an additional 2 packs or the wiring into them. I mean, to Chair Phinizy's point of view, these have been advertised as full, bulletproof, and apparently they're bulletproof. Just all the wires to them aren't bulletproof. So, all right. And I would, following on to Commissioner Nagi's point, it would be helpful to me if you would send this PowerPoint out to all of us individually because I have a backlog of people who I frankly was out of town, and I mean I wasn't as useful on this one as I have been on other crises, but I would be useful if I could send it out to people so they'd have your explanation of the problem. Thank you.
Sure. And I'm sure
Commissioner, by the way,
Trevor's-
so not to make a joke on there, but actually people do shoot at our packs at certain neighborhoods. So we do have that experience as well.
When I say bulletproof, yeah, we have had some people
They're not bulletproof in that
intentionally
case, yes.
causing damage to them. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, but
goodness.
and
Okay.
one very quick. I know we're running out of time. When you're putting two ends of cable together, and this is not a typical overhead setup. It's again the pack cable is like putting an underground cable overhead, basically. When you're putting two ends of the cable itself is very, very unlikely to fail. It's just the joint, the splice when you put it. You're creating basically every time you put the ends of the cable together. Whatever you do, you're creating a stress point, and that's the point that if there is any fault current traveling, it would could be caused by many different reasons. It's going to try to the fault current automatically is going to try to find the weakest point inside that line to expose itself, and typically that happens on the splice on the joint. Which because I mean it's you're putting two ends of the cable together, so it's not a continuation. It creates a stress point, regardless of how you do it.
I feel like I'm in electrical engineering class. Commissioner Sherman.
Yeah, just a quick question. When there is a power outage, whom do we call as commissioners to get the most accurate and the quickest report from Pepco as to what's happening and how long it's likely to last so that we then can, in turn, answer questions from our constituents?
That would be myself and my colleague Andrew Huff. I know I've been engaged with Laura over the past few outages. Andrew Huff is the Ward 3 liaison. He just came on board to Pepco a couple of weeks ago. I'll make sure to put his information in the chat as well as myself.
Okay, we're of course often Ward 3 representatives serve us, even though 4 of our 7 single-member districts are in Ward 4. So
Right.
whoever the contact person is, that's great because our constituents, of course, reach out to us and ask us what's going on if we know something, and it's incredibly helpful to get very quick information to be able to respond to their concerns. So that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Commissioner, I
more than
appreciate that question. Yeah, because we do have a pretty good website, but I get with the tracker, but it doesn't tell you the details. So, yeah, if you contact the Trevor's teams, they can work with us, try to find out a little bit more information on the outcome of the outage and then progress.
So just to be clear, the number that I have, and in fact, I just sent out a newsletter to my constituents this afternoon with emergency contact information for all utilities, and the number I provided for Pepco, which I got from your website, 877-737-2662. If someone calls that number, whom do they speak to? What is that exactly?
It's our number so that you can report outages or different things that's happening in your neighborhood. So it gives you different prompts, like if you live in DC or Maryland, and then a live person takes your information, asks for your address, and then a contact information, a phone number to follow back up with you about crew arrival and things like that.
Okay, but for a commissioner, again, to be clear, you'll give us other numbers. We can contact you directly to see what the actual status of an outage is.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and we do encourage our customers to contact that number because that information gets directly sent to our control center, and it helps us to dispatch our trouble crews better. Basically, it does help when we see a bundle of calls coming from one neighborhood, from one street. That gives us more information about the type of outage that is going on in that neighborhood, and makes us helps us to know which type of trouble crew should we send to that location. So that always helps to get that call with that number that you have sent to your constituents.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Commissioner Sherman, I think your hand is down now. Is that correct?
I'll-
Okay. Commissioner Gore.
Yes, I just wanted to, Traverse, let you know and the Pepco team that my community was affected by a couple of those very momentary brief outages, but we didn't have any significant issues. But we did have what we thought was a Pepco wire hanging from Western and Greenville last week. I called the customer service number that you just gave us information on and spoke with the rep, and the truck reported out there probably within an hour to an hour and a half. It was extremely fast, extremely efficient. And I agree with your assessment. Those calls should go through there so that you can get a better scope of what's happening within the community. And the dispatch was just remarkably fast. So I just want to thank the Pepco team, let you know all news is not bad news. We had some great news in single member District 1, and we definitely thank you for that. And in addition to that, they actually tagged that wire as not belonging to Pepco. So that was very, very helpful. So we're still trying to figure out who that wire belongs to, but just wanted to let you know that 877 number or whatever that number was worked really efficiently for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, there's an orange tag that we put that identifies it as non-Pepco cable. It's usually communication.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Good to hear. Thank you. Cal.
So a couple things. The first one is to Stephen Park. Just a reminder that this area and these meetings have a high concentration of seniors. So if you could speak a little more slowly when you give your presentations, that would be helpful here.
Got it. No, I was catching myself on that. That's my habit that I'm
I
trying
tried to
do.
send out the slow down thing, but it didn't.
It's not just about the. I sometimes use that excuse also. Say I didn't understand what you said, Stephen. That's why I didn't get that job done on time.
The second thing is, I just want to mention I'm in feeder 467, and we had a bunch of those momentary outages, anywhere from a second or two to a few minutes, and several times during one particular rainstorm, somewhere in the 3 to 5 days ago range. And what happens is every time we have to go around the house and reset everything, including my mother's medical alert device has to be reset, all these things. So you didn't mention feeder 467. I don't know that you need to spend any time on that, but I just want to mention that we were affected not as greatly as the people on the 5-digit figures, but the feeders. But just wanted to add that.
Carl, thanks for that. And also, Commissioner Nagy mentioned about the momentaries. We do take that considerable, any outages out there is not something that we want to see. And we pride ourselves from having reliability, utility. And we've come a long way. When I started 24 years ago, we're one of the worst reliable company and electrical company in the United States.
And we're gonna
now we got better, but we got to keep that up. So that's one of the things that we're striving for.
We're about to have another test because we're going to have 101 in 2 days. So
yeah, so we're planning for that type of event.
All right, thank you. And Commissioner Gosselin.
Just very quickly, I want to do a very SMD oriented call out to Ann Walters. I assume we're going to end this discussion with Pepco momentarily. The DC plug is doing something that ultimately will produce more reliable service. But this community has been buried in infrastructure projects over the last couple of years. And I hope we can talk soon, because there are marked lines for a trench right down the 3800 block of Livingston between Connecticut and 39th Street. I assume that's going to be a DC plug trench. That street is parked to the gills in part because of housing, but largely because of the Starbucks at the corner. And if you're going to dig a trench there, we're going to have to do some special community notification because otherwise the street's going to be shut. I mean, it's just going to be jam-packed. There's going to be a traffic jam for as long as the work goes on. So maybe we should talk tomorrow. Just my plug for a conversation about that. Thank you.
No, no pun intended, right?
No pun intended. No.
Okay.
Sure,
Great.
sure. We do engage, and I do go by the Starbucks a lot and let them know when we're coming and what we're doing. So yes, we do. And thanks again for just putting that back on the table.
Okay, great. So I think at this time I would, and Pepco may want to stay on for this. Anne, one of the questions that we had was were any of the outages related to the DC plug work? Was it just coincident, bad timing, bad karma? You know, did y'all see any connection there? Or is that just?
There's no connection there, and the team can jump in as well. Because right now what we're doing on DC plug is just installing the infrastructure to accommodate the wiring. So we're in the civil part of the construction for DC plug. So where the electrical part comes in is after we've completed the civil part and turn it over to Pepco. Then Pepco will come in with another crew and they will inform the residents about the wiring and then their outages. So it had nothing to do with DC plug at this time.
Okay, good to know. Are there any other questions for Ann Walters before we go to commissioner announcements? I see Commissioner Simmons' hand.
Yes, and I just want to remind the community, Ms. Walters had mentioned to this before, that no infrastructure will be done for a year, at least a year. So
the wiring, yes. Wiring, yeah. After we've completed civil construction, installing all the tap holes, THs, manholes, and conduits, and inspected and turned over to Pepco. That's when they'll start having the wiring for the DC plug, and Pepco will send out another team to inform the residents about any outages at that time. But I would just like to take this moment to, and again, thank you, commissioners and residents, for having me on at least twice a month to update you on the DC plug project. And currently, we are on Nebraska Avenue. We are doing in the 5300 block of Nebraska Avenue from Nevada to Military. They're doing final restoration, and that's the asphalt that they're doing. So that should be completed, weather permitting, by July 18th. Should they extend, I will then go back out and inform the residents between Nevada and Military about the final restoration that is currently taking place in that particular block. We did share with residents also on Nevada Avenue from Nebraska to Connecticut about the 24-hour lane closure. Whether because of the rain last week delayed the contractor from doing some of the conduit work. So they've started today again from Ingomar heading towards Connecticut. So they're installing conduits there. After they've completed that, they will start the concrete work. Hence, that's why they'll have the 24-hour lane closure, because the concrete has to cure for at least a few days before they can reopen those two lanes. Should they go beyond the August 8th date that they said they should, complete all of that work, again, I will inform the residents about that. Moving on to 39th and Livingston, working the way down to Morrison. The crew is also installing conduits there. That should take around 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the weather again. And once they've completed the the installation of conduits, then they will proceed to start doing the restoration work. And that's it so far for DC plug. I do not have any other updates as it relates to DC plug, but those are the areas you'll visibly see the contractor out there working. We've completed restoration on Legation, part of 39 and part of Livingston. I know they'll be coming back to do the curb and sidewalk on Legation and 39th and a part of 39th and Livingston. So that's it.
But
Yes, Mr. Gosselin.
Commissioner
sorry.
Gosselin?
Just for residents, they should be aware. I assume this is DC plug. There are the 39th Street between Livingston and McKinley is trenched, and there were big cement trucks there today. It's a one-lane street right now. So just be aware when you try to get to the post office or somewhere.
Okay.
It's difficult. And my concern is, I assume the yellow markings in the street that look the same size as the trenches that have already been dug on 39th Street are yours, and mean that there's going to be a trench running the whole length of Livingston, which is going to be, we've got to do really careful notification. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Trevoris and Sina and Stephen and Anne, for all your efforts to help explain this to us. Hopefully that Van Ness substation will get done, and we'll look forward to more reliability going forward. But thank you very much for coming and taking our questions. I know we ask a lot of detailed questions, but it really helps us answer our constituents who often have very detailed questions, and we can help them better after you helped us.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for your time. Again, apologize for the experience and happy to do so. We're only a phone call away, so happy to work with you all moving forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Trevoris.
Thanks,
Okay. All right. So we're going to go to commission business at this point. And Pepco, if you want to drop off the call, you're welcome to do so, or you can stay and listen to our commission treasurer's report. Commissioner Sherman.
Yeah. Make sure I'm not muted. Just to review the transactions for the month of June, we only had one transaction, and that was a deposit in the amount of $95, which I deposited to reimburse for the wire fee that was associated with the payment of the Go Vocal invoice. So we're flush on that score. The ending balance on our account for the month of June was $57,173.41. Again, no other transactions to report for the month of June. We did get clearance on our Q2 FY26 QFR, the financial report, which then enables the Office of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission to recommend release of the allotment for Q4, which is in the amount of $4,834.77, which will be forthcoming. We haven't received that yet. And we received notification also from the OANC about the FY27 allotments, that there has been no reduction in those planned for the next fiscal year. So for the next fiscal year, our total allotment will be $19,339.08. I believe that is the sum total of what I have to report.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Sherman. All right. So now we have commissioner reports, and we'll go in SMD order. So I'll begin with Commissioner Gore.
Thank you. So I want to start off with giving an update that I also had in my newsletter about the Pinehurst Circle Utah Avenue Sidewalk Gap Program. First, I want to thank the community for taking the time to fill out the survey and give some really good data to the DDOT team. I want to thank DDOT, and I know their sidewalk gap program people are not present, but they did a tremendous job when we did the community walkthrough. They talked and reached out to every neighbor that was affected. Neighbors have since been talking to them about placement of planting. Some neighbors have already been relocating planting. The urban forestry has been out there with neighbors working really hard. And Karen said this was the best sidewalk gap walkthrough that they have ever done. So I take that very personally. I think it was a lot of professionalism that went into that process, and SMD01 should be very proud of that. As a follow-up to that, we had many neighbors that submitted other areas within our jurisdiction that they are concerned with safety, including 33rd Street and 32nd Street. And talking with neighbors, I actually did a walkthrough for 32nd Street. We had a preliminary discussion with DDOT. 32nd Street, and I know I only have a few minutes, is an unsafe street in terms of driving, pedestrian safety, and neighbors there asking for a sidewalk. So I put in my newsletter that we're going to, or I'm going to ask for feedback from the community through the end of July and send a recommendation over to DDOT. They do think that they can accommodate 32nd Street sidewalk in their plan this year, but they would have to look at the proposal and see if it's feasible for them. But also want to thank 32nd Street neighbors. I know some of them are here today for bringing this to our attention. While we were actually doing the walkthrough, we literally almost saw a child get hit by a car who was crossing from Utah, him and his mom, over towards 32nd Street. And we literally had to jump in the street to stop the car because I do not believe the car saw him. And his mother was pretty far back. So there are some concerning aspects to that project that we would like to see move forward. Other than that, I did mention the Greenville Western Avenue wire hanging. So just to let folks know that live in an area that I'm working on that and trying to get that corrected. And that's all I have to report.
That was amazing timing. Okay, SMD02.
Yeah, just to let everyone know, I've coordinated with our urban forestry colleague, whom all of you know, Ranjit Babra, about doing a community Zoom call on July 29th from 7 to 8 p.m. to answer constituent questions, my SMD02 constituents, but any of the other commissioners' constituents could obviously participate on questions related to trees of all kinds. I have gotten, and this is the time of year when all of us get a lot of questions about what to do if a tree falls down, what to do if a tree is encroaching on neighbor's property, what to do if a tree is encroaching on public space. Commissioner Phinizy and I have been working on a fairly nettlesome issue related to trees encroaching on public space. And so I thought it would be appropriate and timely to have Ranjit join in such a conversation. So mark your calendars if you would like. July 29th from 7 to 8 p.m. I will be doing that with Ranjit and any other commissioners who wish to join.
Thank you, Commissioner Sherman. Commissioner Grunewald.
Yes, aside from Ingleside, the Ingleside project and the Pepco outages, I have nothing else to report at this moment. Thank you.
You've had a handful. I will go next. In 04, the Lafayette School Field. I've been giving it lots of TLC to try to help it through the heat wave. I was very excited today to talk with DGS, and they are going to come out and mow this week. So the Phinizy mowing service can be discontinued, and they're going to mow again in later July. They're on schedule 3 times in August 2 times in September, and we talked tentatively about aerating, reseeding, fertilizing in the fall. They'll have to wait when they get their new, FY budget, but it looks good. And going back to some discussions that were held in with the discussions about turf and grass, with Commissioner Sherman having some folks with organic grass field maintenance. Hopefully we can work that in also with them as we go forward. So stay tuned for that. We have a park walkthrough on Friday at 1 p.m. And this is, as you may remember, we had a resolution with ANC asking for less intrusive, less concrete kind of based, and really rehabbing that upper field. So it'll be interesting to see where we are at that point. And I am aware of some of the crumbling bricks on the front of the school. The DCPS capital projects guy, they are working on all of those, and so those are getting addressed. So that's and just please, if you have dogs, if you can keep them off the new grass field. And we've had some concerns with parents at the park having dogs run up to them and their kids. So just a reminder that there are leash laws and they apply everywhere. So that's it for me. And now I will go to Commissioner Simmons.
No update.
All right, thank you. And Commissioner Gosselin.
Yeah, a couple things. Working on the same thing we did with outages. There was a tree down in the alley off a limb down in the alley off Chevy Chase Parkway in the 5400 block, and a wire down and a utility pole that cracked at the base, so it was balanced. There were a bunch of back and forths about it. It turns out not to have been a Pepco pole or wire. It was a Verizon one, but it took some time to get that straightened out. Some neighbors and I are going to have conversation about the state of the alley, which is deteriorating. Let's see. There continues to be problems on 39th and Northampton with the opening of Wheelhouse. There's a lot of congestion around the post office. I'm getting a lot of neighbor complaints. Just be aware when you go to the post office. It's a much rougher time trying to find a place to park than the already rough time it was. Finally, and I want to say that there's I'm speaking on behalf of Friends of Chevy Chase Circle, of which a 501c3 nonprofit that tries to better the Chevy Chase Circle and Fountain. The organization will be sponsoring a Circle Safety Summit on July 28th at 2 p.m. at the Chevy Chase Village Hall on the Maryland side at 5906 Connecticut Avenue. This is the discussion of that circle, and what I suspect that what the discussion is going to come down to is improving markings on the circle, ones that both Maryland and DC promised when the circle was redone several years ago, when the traffic pattern was redone several years ago. But of course, this will renew conversation about signalizing the circle. So just for people's awareness. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Gosselin. Commissioner Nagy.
Thank you. Apropos outages on alleys, folks in my SMD were without internet service for a week because squirrels bit the wires for Verizon's internet service, and it took a week to correct it. So I don't know. Little squirrels. When I was listening to Pepco, I was thinking it'd be great if we could have like animal proofing for Verizon too. But that was pretty terrible for the people who work from home and didn't have internet service. Trash collection has been an issue, I know, in other areas of Chevy Chase. But it has been, I think, especially thorny in SMD 07. I can't honestly say that there's anything I do more often than deal with missed trash and recycling collection. And in one case, one of my constituents didn't have collection for 7 weeks, which is basically outrageous. So I've been in touch with the head of, I think Randy is great. Randy Thorpe is great, but I don't think this is in her wheelhouse. I think it's more systemic than that. And so I've been in touch with Dr. Morris, who's the head of DPW's trash collection and recycling efforts. And he wrote me back this morning, and I will be following up with him to talk about how to get this under control. He says there's no excuse for it. I have to agree. But I think he needs to know just how prevalent it really is and how much of a problem it's been in my SMD. 5301 Connecticut Avenue continues to be a real issue. The facade has not been repaired. It's under an NOI that expires imminently, and it's still not repaired. They're supposed to have done a reinspection. They sent out the inspectors, and the inspectors didn't have the right marching orders, and so they didn't do the proper inspection. And so now I'm trying to get them to come out and inspect the structural integrity of the rest of the facade, because if one of those large facade panels falls on someone, they will be either severely injured or killed. And I'm trying to get the district to understand the gravity of the situation. So that's all I have. I hope to have better news on that next time. Thank you guys for coming.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Nagy. If there are no further pressing items, I move that we now adjourn. It's 9:47. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have many. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thank you. All those opposed, that's a formality, I know. Okay, so with 7-0, this meeting is adjourned. Everybody stay cool and enjoy the rest of your summer. Our next meeting will be on the 22nd. Is that right? Can I count? 27th. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you all.
Good night.